There was one question that haunted Albus Dumbledore for the rest of his life. If Harry Potter destroyed Tom Riddle's diary, then who was the young man seen leaving Hogwarts that same night? No one believed the rumors. Some claimed it was nothing more than frightened students imagining things. Others insisted it had been a Death Eater escaping through the castle grounds. Only Harry knew the truth. He had seen him. He had looked directly into the eyes of Tom Riddle. When Harry entered the Chamber of Secrets, Ginny Weasley was already beyond saving. The diary had drained every last drop of her life. With Ginny's final breath, something impossible happened. Tom Riddle stopped looking like a memory. He became flesh and blood. Harry destroyed the diary only seconds later. The Horcrux was gone, but the body it had created remained. For the first time in more than 50 years, Tom Marvolo Riddle walked out of the Chamber of Secrets as a living wizard. And no one realized that Lord Voldemort had just returned. Years before anyone expected, the Ministry dismissed Harry's story almost immediately. According to every expert on dark magic, a Horcrux could preserve part of a soul, but it could never create a living person. Dumbledore never argued publicly. Instead, he quietly collected every fragment of evidence he could find, searching ancient books for an explanation that didn't exist. Meanwhile, Tom Riddle had no intention of announcing himself to the wizarding world. He had already learned the greatest lesson of his future. Fear created enemies. Patience created followers. Using forgotten family records and stolen identities, Tom disappeared into the Muggle world. He spent years studying politics, economics, and human nature. Unlike Voldemort, he wanted people to admire him before they feared him. When he finally returned to magical Britain, no one recognized the handsome young wizard calling himself Thomas Riddle. He was intelligent, respectful, charming, everything the original Tom Riddle had once pretended to be at Hogwarts. Within only a few years, he gained influence inside the Ministry. He donated fortunes to struggling magical communities, exposed corrupt officials, and publicly spoke about restoring stability after the First Wizarding War. Newspapers praised him as one of the brightest young leaders of his generation. Only Harry recognized the face behind the smile. He warned everyone. No one listened. To the public, Harry Potter looked obsessed with seeing Voldemort everywhere. Then everything changed. Deep within the forests of Albania, Lord Voldemort finally regained enough strength to sense the impossible. A fragment of his own soul was alive. When Peter Pettigrew restored Voldemort's body, the Dark Lord immediately searched for the escaped Horcrux, believing it would willingly return to him. Instead, Tom Riddle laughed. He looked at Voldemort with disappointment. The powerful, brilliant student who had dreamed of immortality had become a snake-like creature ruled by fear and rage. Tom refused to kneel. Voldemort demanded loyalty. Tom declared himself the only true heir of Salazar Slytherin. The Death Eaters were forced to choose. Some followed the Dark Lord they had served for years. Others abandoned him, believing the younger Tom Riddle possessed everything Voldemort had lost. The wizarding world was thrown into chaos. Not because one Dark Lord had returned, but because there were now two. While Voldemort conquered through terror, Tom conquered through influence. Entire families willingly supported him, believing he represented a new beginning rather than another war. For the first time, Dumbledore admitted something that terrified even him. The younger Tom Riddle was far more dangerous. Voldemort could always be recognized as a monster. Tom still looked like a hero. Harry realized defeating Voldemort would no longer save the wizarding world. Even if the Dark Lord fell, Tom would simply take his place. The only hope was to make them destroy each other. Using information Dumbledore had gathered over many years, Harry manipulated both sides into believing the other possessed the remaining Horcruxes. Suspicion quickly turned into hatred. The final battle erupted at Hogwarts. Not between good and evil, but between two versions of the same soul. As Voldemort and Tom Riddle unleashed devastating curses against one another, Harry, Ron, Hermione, and Dumbledore destroyed the last Horcruxes hidden within the castle. In a single moment, both Dark Lords became mortal. Voldemort fell first. Tom tried to escape. Harry stood in his way one final time. Years earlier, he had arrived at the chamber only moments too late. This time, he wasn't. Tom Riddle fell where his story had truly begun. And Dumbledore finally had the answer to the question that had haunted him for years. Harry had destroyed the diary. He had simply done it after Tom